This time, I wanted to do something a little bit different and fun instead of the typical tutorials on programming and electronics. This video is actually a 12-question quiz to test your current knowledge. The questions aren't engineering level questions and aren't terribly difficult. For some, you may know the answer right away. For others, you may need to dig around a bit to find an answer. Also, the questions aren't specifically Arduino related. But since they concern circuit design, digital electronics, and more, the topics they cover are definitely something an Arduino enthusiast or maker in general would want to know. Once I read a question, I'll wait 7 seconds before I reveal the answer. That way you can pause the video and think about it. Grab a pen and paper or the Notes app on your phone and let's go. Question 1. You need a resistor with a tight tolerance and a good temperature stability. Which type of resistor should you pick? A carbon composition resistor, a thermistor, or a carbon film resistor? The answer to number 1 is C. Carbon film resistors generally have tighter tolerances and better temperature stability than carbon composition resistors. A thermistor is a special type of resistor which is purposefully made sensitive to temperature. Question 2. How would you write 192 in binary? And here's the answer. You can read this, so I'm not going to bother reading off a bunch of ones and zeros. Question 3. Which is technically the correct way that current flows? A. Current flows from positive to negative, or B. Current flows from negative to positive. The answer is B. Technically, electrons flow from negative to positive. Question 4. There are a few ways to make terminating nodes on a CAN bus, some of which are better than others. Out of the two below, which is the best? A. Using 260 ohm resistors with a bypass capacitor. Or B. Invoke the KISS principle. Keep it simple, stupid. Just use a 120 ohm resistor. And the answer is A. Question 5. Describe the difference between power and energy. So power is the rate at which work is performed, and energy is a total amount of work. For example, suppose two people, each weighing the same, circle a track. One person takes their time and walks around the track, while the other person sprints. Both people use the same amount of energy since they did the same amount of work. However, the runner uses energy in a shorter amount of time while the walker spaced it out. Although both use the same amount of energy, the runner used more power since his energy was used up quicker. 6. You're going to enclose your project in a plastic box you made with your 3D printer. Which ground symbol below is the correct one to use on your schematic? And the answer is C. Question 7. You need a circuit that creates a periodic rectangular wave with a 60% duty cycle. You could use a microcontroller or an Arduino, but there is a cheaper, much simpler method. What is it? You can get a 555 timer for way under $1 and use it in an astable circuit. You can accomplish this with a 555 timer, 2 resistors, and a capacitor. Question 8. A 3-input exclusive NOR gate has a 1 on input A and a 0 on inputs B and C. What is its output? The answer is low. Question 9. A circuit has a power factor of 0.92 and draws 5 watts of real power. How much apparent power does it consume? Okay, so we know that the power factor is a cosine of the power triangle, and that the cosine is the adjacent side of the power triangle over the hypotenuse. Using this information, we can write this equation. Rearranging it algebraically, we can write this one. And dividing both sides by 0.92, we see that the apparent power is equal to roughly 5.43 VA, which means volt amps. Question 10. The image below depicts AC, DC, neither, or both. The answer is B, it's DC. And this is known as pulsating DC. And it's DC because the waveform never switches polarity, so it never goes below the time axis into the negative. 11. True or false? It's okay for two or more gadgets on the same network to have the same MAC address. The answer is false. No two gadgets on the same network are supposed to have the same MAC address. If they do, neither device will be able to communicate properly. And question 12, the final question. A quartz crystal oscillator can be modeled with a certain type of circuit. What type of circuit is this, and what does it look like? And the answer is a series parallel RLC circuit like the one below. And RLC just stands for resistive, inductive, capacitive. But anyway, how did you do? Leave a comment and let me know what you thought of the quiz and how you did. And if enough people enjoyed it, maybe I'll do another one sometime. Until then, go out and make something.